Okay, so first trade on the day for me was OPGN, and just typed in there. So OPGN right off the open, you guys could see we had this lower trend line forming in pre-market. I adjusted it a little to kind of meet up over here. At the time it was just like this, nice trend line going into the open. So right into the open, we kind of have this flush on the 1 minute into our lower trend line. Bidders started stepping up there, so I took my first position there at 25.1. Got really nice fills on it. So as soon as I get long there, we start having a parabolic rise all the way into our 28 pivot. Took some off in a 28, took a small piece off in a 27s, and then we get this sharp rise into 30s right over here. Start peeling more off into 30s. I see I took a small piece off at 26.2. Took more off into 30s, and then right on this candle I was out of my remaining piece at 28 cents. That's when I then flipped over to the bigger time frame. At first it started with like a 5-minute flag look over the pre-market highs. Didn't really like this look. It was really tricky to play. I did get ads right here at 0.30, ended up stopping out of it on the 30 break, and then I was like, okay, you know what, this is really whippy. Let me get on a bigger time frame, and then that's when I noticed this really nice 10-minute flag off the pre-market highs, kind of wicked down into 27 to tap this pivot over here. Ultimately got long on this candle right here over the 30 break. Got long some 0.303, got long some more 0.307. So as soon as we get that move, we get a nice pop through higher day right here into 32s. Take my first piece off into 32. Take more off into this daily pivot over here. See I scaled some off 36, scaled some off 34. Get another extension through 34, through the 37 gap fill for the daily pivot. I'll show you that right over here. So ultimately, like on this trade, I was looking for this 37 little mini gap fill right here. Then anything over 37, I was looking for that 44 area pivot right over here. So I scaled some more off over this 37 pivot. Got some 38 fills into the ask. And then we get that second extension into our 44 area. I see I scaled some off 42s. Then I had my last piece. And once we flushed into this 37 daily pivot and broke it, I took my last piece off at, oh, well, not really. I took my last piece off at 38. So I guess that was on this bearish engulfing coming into the pivot. Notice we were kind of consolidating against this pivot. It was a daily pivot, so it's a significant level. I remember there were a lot of bidders stepping in. Got long again, 37 right here, right off of this daily pivot. See that we had a nice pop into 38s. Took some off into 38s. Had another pop here into 36s. Oh no, that's when we dropped. That's right. Right here on this flush candle. Or I'm sorry, where the hell was it? Right over here. So get long over here, peel some off into 38s. We get this flush candle into 35. Stop the remaining piece of my position. 36s, 35s is getting filled. Then we kind of have this major push back in the 40s. We start putting in this bigger picture flag right here. It was on the 10-minute. Could see nice, nice pull up, lower VPA into the pivot again. Got long again into the pivot. Got long right over here into 37s again. Had a pop into 39s over here. Took the whole piece off 39. Fast forward a little later. And I get long on this downtrend break right here on the little retest. Get filled 39.7s here. Get a pop into 42s. Take some off 42 into here, take some off 43. Started peeling more off into 44s, peeled some more off on the pull down into 43. Then ultimately stopped my remaining piece on this flush down into 40s. I see I did get filled some 39, so I guess there was some slippage on it, 0.395. So on this, reject, I remember at the time I was on live with Mikey and the guys, and the tape was so heavy up here. There was so many buyers, but there was also so many people selling at the same time. And we came up to this kind of daily level, and shorts just piled in, and we started stuffing. So I got my last piece off 40, got filled some 39.5, and then didn't touch it after that. So that's where like majority of my money came from on this OPGN. Next trade of the day for me was on GRTS. GRTS was nice. Had a nice 5-minute flag against this pivot, 318 area over here, 320 as well. I was looking for 318 ads, but then I noticed this pivot on the 5-minute. It's actually a 10-minute flag look. This is where I was getting long. Got my first ads in 331s. We started flushing down into the 322 area pivot. I noticed buyers were present there, so I started adding more into 326s. We then, consolidate for a little while between this area. We kind of got the break over 330, and then shorts would come in, and then literally out of nowhere, I'll go to a smaller time frame, we get this massive pop all the way into 350s to make new highs. Started peeling some off into 340, peeled a little more off 346s, so I was getting really nice fills up here into the ask. And then ultimately I had my last piece, and I was like, okay, I'm willing to risk, break even. If we come down and break this 332 previous high over here, I'll stop out on my remaining piece. We start flushing down on this candle. I market sold my last piece, got filled 329. Overall, really nice trade there. I'll go over it really quick again. Nice 10-minute flag look over the pivot. Worked out really well. VPA wasn't the cleanest. Can kind of say it was. Let me make this bigger, we'll see. Yeah, it was kind of just consistent, but then, overall buyers stepped in and overpowered the sellers, so really nice push there. FFIE was another one. We'll pull this one up. This one was kind of a scalp, I would say. This is off a 5-minute. Right into the open, kind of 5-minute flag look here. Mikey and everyone started getting long into 61s. I added 61.1, got a nice pop into 63s, took some off 63.5, right into this area over here. Took some more off 63.66, continued sixes. We get another pop into 666 over here. Peeled some off 60 cents even, peeled some more off 64 cents, and then ultimately on this flush candle back into 61s, I stopped my remaining piece. I was kind of trying to let that last piece ride so I can capitalize as much as I can on it. But once we started, flushing really fast into the 61 pivot and gave out this previous high right over here of 62, I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of this position. Didn't re-add anything, didn't get this play up here, didn't get the short play, but really nice setup off the open. You can see the flag right over here. I'm sure if I zoom in the volume, you can kind of see the volume, big push up, kind of descending, and then bam, right into the open. Let's see the 1 minute if it looks cleaner. Yeah, you can kind of see, high volume push, flag look into open, and then buyers just ramp it up. This one was really nice as well, kind of a scalp on it. Next trade was NCPL. This one was a pre-market trade actually. Took it in the morning with the guys. Everyone in the Goblin Gang was long on this flag look here. I got long some against 307s. Ultimately I was long because we did get a little downtrend break. I'll redraw that trend line for you. We got a downtrend break there on the 1. Started trying to hold right over here in this area. So that's when I got my first ads at $3.09. We end up flushing into 3s, and then I averaged down, got my average down to 303s. We get another pop into the 308 area. Took some off 308s just to mitigate some risk in case we, continue to flush. Ultimately, I was looking for a flush into 280s, this previous area, and then see if they wick it up. We didn't exactly get that, but we did have a few flushes into like 287. So ultimately, I de-risked on the position. We're kind of consolidating here. I remember going over the 10-minute, and I'm like, all right, we're just trading sideways. We're holding over our VWAP. We're holding over our EMA 9. There's no reason to exit. Let's see if we get that big pop. We do get that big pop over here through our upper trend line. Take some more off 316. Take some more off into 312. Didn't get any fills up here against 325, and that's because I was on my last piece and I was looking for the 325 crack to start squeezing us up. If you look at the daily had some nice range over here. You could see we had some nice range into 4s, even some nice range into 350s, 360s area. So I was looking to see, maybe we can catch some more profit on that last piece. Ultimately into the open, we get a nice high volume push, and then as you can see, it stuffs down. And right over here into the stuff candle, when we break 3, I sell my remaining piece at market, and I get filled at $2.91. Overall green trade on the name. You could see, faded off all the way to $1.80, so kind of a round trip on this name, but we got to profit off a piece over here, so that's really cool. Next trade on the day, this was actually one towards the end of the day. VINC, nice 5-minute flag. You can see we get the high volume break through 98 right here, and we get that low VPA pullback back into the 98 $1 area. I noticed excuse me, I noticed there were a lot of buyers in this area, so I decided to put some on at $1.01. Wow, nice suck there. So put some on against $1.01. We get a nice pop over here into our upper trend line, right where high of day is. Start peeling some off into 105 into the ask. We get this massive push here through the highs of 107. Peel another piece off at 108, and then ultimately on this push down here, when we break 107 right before the close, I market sold my remaining piece and got filled 106, even though price was up at 107, but it's whatever. I kind of see it's consolidating over here. Might present an opportunity, might not. Next trade on the day was Mullen. This was actually one from the morning. Nice 5-minute flag on Mullen. Mullen right into the open. Really nice push up here. Low VPA pullback into the 21 pivot. Put this one in the Goblin Gang. I got long on this one full size at 21.65. Risk was off 21, so I was getting long right in this area over here. We get a nice high volume push into 22. Take my first piece off into 22 right through the highs right over here. Take some more off here into more off at 22s. So I started scaling into this candle into the 22s. Took more off into 23, 23, 23. That was getting filled into the ask. Took some more off 22 sixes. And then ultimately on this stuff candle right here, I get the remaining piece off at 22 cents. I didn't even let it ride to break even or anything. And the reason for that was we did put in this lower high. And I always remember that Mullen, if we look back at it, it never holds its gains ever. Every time it gaps up, you could see it sells off. Gap up, sell off, gap up, sell off, gap up, sell off. So I didn't want to overstay my welcome on this one. Glad I kind of had that in the back of my mind. And when I made some quick gain on it, I was kind of quick to exit and move on. Also at the time, I was more focused on OPGN. So that kind of is why I was out pretty quick. Next trade on the day, ASPU. Oh wow, ASPU actually nice. Okay, so this one was actually the one when Jizban was recording his live. I got long against this 43 area. Still didn't take any profit off. Don't really have much size on this, so I'll probably let it ride, see if we get that 50 break. But we're all the way up here 45 to see if we hit highs of 48. Pretty cool. Some bidders lining up at 45, so we'll see if we get that 50 break. That's where I'll look to take some profit off. Next trade on the day, what is this one? WVE. Honestly, have a small starter in WVE against this 465 area pivot. Got some fills at 470. Again, small size. Gonna see if we can open up, and risk is off 465. So I'm still sitting in this one. Kind of lower volume at the moment, so we'll see how it plays out. Haven't taken a piece off. There's no reason to take a piece off yet, and there's no reason to stop out yet. We haven't hit my stop. So kind of letting that one ride. Next trade on the day would have been PBLA. Go ahead and look at this one. This was another one from after hours. Got long over here on this 5-minute look. You could see that we kind of tested this upper trend line, and as soon as this first 5 made a new high, I got long right there at 15. 14.8 actually, 15 whatever. And right here on this trend line break is where I stopped out, but got filled 13.2 into the bid. So ultimately this one was a little loser. Always when I play after hours, I don't have crazy size or anything, just because there's not much liquidity or anything. You don't want to be the reason something is moving, because you just give someone else an opportunity to sell right into you. My last trade on the day was on SHPH. Got faked out on this one, then re-added. So we kind of had this nice 10-minute flag over here, and I was risking off of this lower trend, or not lower trend line here, sorry, $3 whole cycle level. Get some fills into 306s, get some more fills into 304s right here onto this candle. Then ultimately we flush right here into 293s. Stop out of my position 292. It sucks right back up, and right when we get this trend line break, I get long again on the reclaim of 3, get filled some 306s. And then we get our trend line break here. Took my first piece off into 311. And then right when we get this pop here on the 5 minute into 330s, I take my whole position off at $3.29 right here into this pop. Reason why I took my whole piece off and I didn't scale any off or anything is because the tape was very, very crappy, I'd say. There were a lot of sellers and there was a lot of chat rooms on it, and I was like, all right, this tape sucks. There's not much volume on this name at the moment. Like if I go to the 1 minute, you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. There's like not much volume. It's kind of coming in spikes and then leaving right away. So I was like, if we get that quick pop, I'll just exit my full position and take the gain and move on. I think I played it overall. Overall got faked out here, but you know, this thing could have kept flushing. Quick to the re-eds, you know, no hesitation over there off the 3 reclaim. So really proud of that. Overall did end up small red on this name just because I, you know, kind of had some size over here when we flushed. Then I didn't really take much size here because I'm like, okay, you know what, if we flush again, I don't want to make the loss bigger. So I did take a little smaller size, and I did recoup majority of the L, but still ended up red on this name. Overall green on the day though. Yeah, with that being said, those are all of my trades on the day. If you guys have any questions, go for it.